Hi, greetings everyone. In this video, we will see how to add the tasks to a baseline. Every so often you need to edit a baseline after you save it. For example, the stakeholders might approve some additional scope and you need to add that to the baseline. Or you might need to change baseline values that weren't correct. You can resave the parts of the baseline to see the new target values while still keeping the track of any existing variance from the plan. Before you have actual values, you can just override the baseline. On the project tab, click on the set baseline and select the set baseline here. Since you have already saved the baseline on the earlier date, we will resave it by clicking on OK and saying yes. And now the new baseline is saved. But if you have the actual values, let's say you add the tasks or update a few revised tasks, you want to keep the variances between the baselines and the actual values. So in that case, you are going to update part of the baseline. We have a few options for how you update the baseline in this situation. On the project tab, click on the set baseline, and here we have the option selected tasks. Because you have tasks selected and there are two checkboxes you can choose from. Initially they are turned off, and that says that these new values don't roll up to any summary tasks. The added tasks or edits in this case will show up in all the variances in the summary tasks. But let's say you have approved work or changes that you want to be a part of the plan. Well, in that case, you turn on to all the summary tasks, and because you want those revisions to the baseline to roll up to all the summary tasks, that way you won't see them as variances. On the other hand, if you have changes or added work that you want to track as additions instead of to all summary tasks, turn on the other checkbox from summary tasks into the selected summary tasks. What this does is it will actually change the baseline values for the selected summary tasks, but it leaves the original baseline values for all the other summary tasks. That way, the changes and the revision will show up as variances at the top level of the project. Let's take a look at how this works. So I'm going to cancel the dialog box and actually show you this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a task into the evaluate lease sites summary task. So I'll click on the row to get the task tab and insert the task. In this case, I'll call it eval lease term. So I'll do that after the second subtask, that is identify tenants improvements. I'll add a task here. I'll go to the task tab and click on add tasks. I'll name it as eval lease terms. I'm going to set it to 7 days. I'm going to assign the task to the office manager. So for that, I'll go to the view tab here. I'll click on the details. So this will enable my task form that I'll assign to the office manager. Say okay. I'll go to the details, detail forms. I'll enable the predecessors and the successors here. I'll also want to link it to the couple of tasks. So in this case, I'm going to link it to you identify potential sites. So I select that and then put a new task ID over the successor table. Here I'll type as 13 and say OK. I got that link in the place, and then I choose the new task and I put the ID for the selected site in the successor and say OK. And here I'll put the ID for select site in the successor table. I'll say 14 and say OK. So now I have got a couple of links in the place. I want to apply the summary table to the Gantt chart view. So I am going to click up in that view and go to the Gantt chart view, and here in the tables drop down list I'll choose the summary. Now you can see here that the work for this choose new location is set for 352 hours, and the work for the total project is set to be 1929 hours. Now you can see here that the work for this choose new location is forecast to be 360 hours, and the work for the total project is forecast at 1937 hours. But let's go back to the baseline table. So I'll click on the tables button here and go to the more tables and select the baseline. You can see in this case the choose new location here, the baseline work hours is set to be 352 hours and the total project hours is set to be 1929 hours. That's the baseline. But now we are going to edit the baseline. So in this case, I'm going to select the summary tasks that include the new task that I added. So I select from choose new location down to finalize lease. Those are selected that I'm going to update the baseline for. Now I'll go to the project tab here and say set baseline and choose set baseline again. I'm going to save the baseline, choose select tasks option. In this case, I want to roll up just to these two selected summary tasks, not the entire project. So I turn on the checkbox for from subtasks into the selected summary tasks and click on OK. Now it will ask me whether you want to overwrite the data in this baseline. I'll say yes. And now you can see a couple of things. Well, first of all, the change highlighting shows you which fields have changed. You can see that the work for this new task is now a part of the baseline. So that's the change, and you can also see that the work for these two summary tasks is changed from 352 hours to 360 hours for the new task. But you can see that the work for the entire project hasn't changed. That's the same as earlier, that is 1929 hours. And you don't see any change highlighting on that value. You can tell the project how to roll up new or revised values into your baselines, so you can have the changes become a part of the baseline and show up these variances. It all depends on what the stakeholders want to see. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.